Salut, David Wallman here for Overloud.com, sharing with you how to create an 80s hard rock tone in TH2. For this, we're going to start from scratch. We're going to add different elements to create a full tone that is going to be based on John Norum's sound, guitar player for Europe. The first thing that John does is process his guitar through a wah pedal, a classic crybaby pedal. We're going to go into TH2's effects and we're going to choose the crying model. Next, we're going to go through a stereo chorus. I'm going to set the speed, the rate, and the effect level to about a third. Make sure that the pedal is set to stereo because we're going to go out of that pedal and go through two different amps, a JCM 800 and a JCM 900. We're going to use two very similar amps found in TH2. The first one is going to be the Rock 75 amp. The second one will be the Rock 900 amp. We'll start with both our amps set right at the middle. To get that really rich 80s hard rock sound, I'm going to raise the mids a little bit, maybe about 2/3 to 3/4. We'll set the volume for both of the amps about 8. The drive is going to go all the way up, and the presence will be at about 1/3. These settings can be tweaked, of course, but this is the setting that I'm going to use that works really well with my guitar. Before we place a cab for both of these amp heads, we're going to add a digital delay. We're going to add this delay to the JCM 800. That's what John uses in his live setup. The D delay found in TH2 is a digital delay, which means that the delay is going to repeat exactly the notes that you're playing. We'll set the repeats and the effect level about 1/4. Because we're not using the delay as a stereo delay, we're going to set the stereo all the way down, and I'll leave the time up to you. That's going to depend on the tempo of your song. Because we're using two different heads, we need to blend these heads together before we go into the cab, and for that we're going to use a stereo mixer. John uses a 4x12 Marshall cabinet. We'll use the 4x12 vintage UK cab in TH2. We're then going to add a microphone. For this, we're going to use an American 57, which is based on the SM 57. We'll set the microphone about 16 inches away from the cab. If you'd like to shape your tone a little further, you can add a second microphone, set its level really low, and kind of play with the angle of the mic on the cab. You might find it beneficial to add an extra reverb right between the stereo mixer and the cab. The spring age reverb is an excellent choice for the 80s metal tone here. We're going to add that between the stereo mixer and the cab, and then we're going to increase the level of that reverb just a little bit to give it more white. TH2 is very tweakable. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can really tweak it to match the type of guitar you're using. I also want to point out the smart presets, which are found underneath the main area here. These smart presets are going to be able to control a variety of different elements of your full preset without having to browse right and left on your floorboard. I set both of the amps to the same drive control here, which means that the drive is going to control both amps at the same exact time. The same thing was done for the volume. To do that, I simply dragged and dropped both amps to the volume smart control. Notice that I also added a smart control for the wah filter, which is going to allow me to control the wah with an external MIDI device. We'll talk a little more about how to connect MIDI devices with TH2. In the meantime, thanks for watching. This was David Wallman for Overloud.com. I'll see you next time. Until then, salut!